right, so let's take a look at this one. Remember, all of these problems were ultimately starting out the same way. We have to do our amplitude period, count by, and then yesterday I added in this new piece that we need to look at, which was interval. You can do the interval on every single problem. You have to do an interval if there's anything added or subtracted with your x. So, our amplitude is what? 3/2. Period. Normal period is 2 pi divided by the coefficient of s, which is 2. So we get a period of pi. Count pi. What do we do? Period divided by 4, so pi. Then we do the interval. When you set up the interval, it doesn't matter what you got for your period. We set it up for the normal sine or cosine. So you always start between 0 and 2 pi. And then you put this argument in the middle, the 2x minus pi. So now I need to solve this for x. What would we do? So then we can set up our graph. I've asked you, please try to make your spacing consistent. We're starting at pi over 2, which is like 90 degrees. I'm counting by pi over 4, which is like 45. We know we need 5 total points. So you just add your count pi. Pi over 2 plus pi over 4. You can think of it as 1/2 plus 1/4. So it would be 3 pi over 4. Plus pi over 4 would be 4 pi over 4 or pi. Plus pi over 4 is 5 pi over 4. Plus pi over 4 is 6 pi over 4 or 3 pi over 2. We're looking at cosine. How does the graph of cosine begin? At its high point. We didn't flip or anything. So when I'm at pi over 2, my x value should be at 3/2, so halfway in between 1 and 2. Then at 3 pi over 4, we're back to 0. Go down to 3/2, back to 0, and up. You'll notice our interval was from pi over 2, so that's our starting point, to 3 pi over 2, which we got for our ending point. So this is 1 period. But I asked you to do 2 periods. How do we get the second period? Yep, keep on going. If you run out of room in one direction, you can go the other direction. You would just subtract your count by if you wanted to go this direction. So it doesn't matter. We just need 4 more points on either end. So if we keep adding the pi over 4, that would be 7 pi over 4. 8 pi over 4 is 2 pi. 9 pi over 4. And 10 pi over 4 or 5 pi over 2. And it just keeps following the same pattern. Questions on that? 2 more problems, if that's okay. I'll get this one. So y equals -2 plus 3 cosine of 2x. All right, what would that -2 do to our graph? If it's multiplied, it flips it. Another way you could write this is 3 cosine of 2x with a -2 on the end. So down 2 for my graph. All right, then we go through our regular list. So now that we know it goes down 2, we're really ignoring that and just focusing on the rest of it. So what's our amplitude? Period. Two pi divided by 2, which is pi. Count by pi over 4. Do we have to do an interval on this problem? No, you only have to if there's anything added or subtracted with your x. Now, could you do an interval? Absolutely. If you're in doubt, just do it. You just say between 0 and 2 pi, and you just put that 2x in the middle. So then what would you do to solve for x? Divide by 2. So you get 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to pi. So we see our graph should start at 0 and end at pi. Okay, so interval is never wrong. You don't have to do it unless you're moving left to right, but you certainly can. Okay, so my graph will start at 0. So we add our count by, so add pi over 4. So this would be pi over 4 plus pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, or pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4 is just pi. But here's what's going to change. Our graph needs to go down 2. So what I like to do, and some people don't like doing this, but it makes it easier for me. Since my whole graph is going down 2, I'm going to go to -2, and I just draw in a little dashed line. That is where our graph is going to be centered at. So if my amplitude is 3, that means I would go 3 above this line, which would take me to +1 for my high point, or 3 below this line, which takes me to -5 for my low. So now if we draw in our graph, we start when x is 0. We're drawing cosine, which starts at its amplitude. So the amplitude is 3 above this line, so that would be at 1. When my x is pi over 4, we should be at our 0 point, which is at this -2, because our graph got shifted down 2. Then we go 3 below this line, back to the center, and 3 above. This is the final twist I can give you on the graph. So for the rest of the chapter, this is everything that we're doing. Amplitude, period, count by. Sometimes we need an interval, sometimes we move up or down. That's all the twists that I have. I guess my directions said 2 periods. What would we do for the second period? Just add 4 more points. So you guys okay if I just do 1 period here? Questions on that one? You want to do a problem that has everything in it? So every possible twist in one problem. 4 minus 2 times the sine of 3x minus pi. Okay. If it helps you, you don't have to do this, but you could rewrite it. This is just a -2 sine of 3x minus pi with a plus 4 on the end. So this will go up 4. And there's a negative in front, so it will also flip. All right, amplitude is 2. Period. 2 pi divided by 3. Count by. What do we do? Do we need an interval on this one? Yes, you have to have it on this one. So we say 0 less than or equal to 3x minus pi less than or equal to 2 pi. So then, to get x by itself, where would you begin? Add pi. So we get pi less than or equal to 3x less than or equal to 3 pi. Divide by 3. So pi over 3 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to pi.
For the thing where it says less than or equal to 2 pi, is it 2 pi every single time?
Yes, 0 to 2 pi every time. Because it's based off what the normal sine and cosine looks like. All right, so let's graph this. Okay, I'm going to start with my points on the x-axis. We are beginning at pi over 3, or 60 degrees. We're counting by pi over 6, or 30 degrees. So pi over 3 is like 2 pi over 6 plus 1 pi over 6, be 3 pi over 6, or pi over 2. 4 pi over 6, or 2 pi over 3. 5 pi over 6. 6 pi over 6 is pi, which you notice we said was where that interval should end. I asked for 2 periods on this one. Can I go ahead and just add 4 more points for that second period? So we're just adding the pi over 6. If you guys get confused with that, you know you can use your calculator. So 7 pi over 6. 8 pi over 6 would be 4 pi over 3. 9 pi over 6, so 3 pi over 2. 10 pi over 6, so 5 pi over 3. Okay, what else is my graph doing? Went up 4. So what I like to do is go to 4 and draw a dashed line. So that is my center. Then what's our amplitude? 2. So we'll go 2 above that, so our highest point would be at 6, or 2 below it, so our lowest point would be at 2. So we're just going to bounce back and forth between 2 and 6. We are graphing sine or cosine? Sine, which starts at its 0 point. So at pi over 3, I should be on this line. So at pi over 3, we should be at 4. But then we flipped it. So sine normally goes up, so we would go down 2. Back to the 4, up 2, and back down. So we're just bouncing back and this is the hardest problem I can give you. Had flipping and up and down and interval, amplitude, period, it had everything in it. Are there questions? So, we've got 30 minutes left. Homework. Yesterday I gave you the beginning of this. Today I am going, I guess I didn't write down the page number. So those were the problems I told you could start yesterday, you may or may not have. Today I'm going to add in 1 through 8, 41, and 45 through 53 odd. If it's all right with you, some of the problems say do 2 periods, some of them say do 1 period. You can just do 1 period on everything for this assignment. Okay, so just graph 1 period.